Welcome back to the dojo, everybody. This is True Talk with TRUMOTION, where a couple of guys talk about how to make the world a better place. Hopefully make your day a little bit better in the process. My name is Mark, followed by my co-host, Stephen.
Hey there.
All right. So now we've got a special guest in the show, as you can see.
We can see him.
We can see him. We have Liam's dad, Kyle. Kyle, you just started training about 3 weeks ago?
I think this is week number 3.
Week number 3.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. But kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, really, kind of very interesting story about Kyle. You actually told me this, I think maybe last year. We originally met at the Sweet Tooth Ferry in the district way back in like maybe, 09, 010?
No, it wasn't quite back that
Was
long
it?
ago. It was 2016.
Was it 16?
It was
That
16.
seems
dang.
like
Yeah.
forever ago.
It does seem like forever ago. Okay.
Oh, I mean, that's what, 10 years ago now,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah, I remember going in there and I wanted to place a lead box and we were just chatting and this and that. And I just, and I was asking you how the space was and you're like, it's great, but everybody parks and goes to the movie theater. So,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did have, had a franchise for a little while.
yeah.
Didn't quite go as planned, but
Yeah.
good learning experience nonetheless.
Absolutely. And then, you and Liam came into the dojo and then you were already training with someone else at the time.
Yeah. So Liam had started with one of the
You can say
other-
it. It's,
Bobby Lawrence.
Yeah.
And it was a good experience. But we were looking for a little bit more than just kind of show up, get a belt.
Yeah.
And we came in and did just a demo with
Yeah,
you,
I
Mark,
remember that.
and Liam was just blown away. He's like, I want this. I want to be here.
I remember because you guys brought a bow staff with you, right?
I can't remember that.
I think
but
we brought you brought a bow staff and I showed him like one little thing with the bow staff on like how to spin it or something.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, we've got, we still have like X amount of months left on our contract with Bobby Lawrence. And but like, well, we'll come back. And in my head, I was like, oh, that's nice, but I'll never see these people again.
Yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden, sure enough, like right when you said that you were going to be coming back, you guys came back through the door and I was like, well, holy crap, they actually did.
Yep, we did. I don't know how we got out of the contract, but we did.
Yeah, I was going to say,
And-
because you came back a little bit earlier than you said you would.
Yes. So we were under contract with the other company, with
Yeah.
the other
Dojo. Yeah.
and we kind of, wouldn't say weaseled our way out, but we were just kind of like, we're out.
Yeah, we're done.
And Liam was a purple belt in that dojo.
Yes.
And you had said we're gonna go and work through, start you back at white. And
Yeah.
he was like, I don't care. I want to be part of
Yeah.
TRUMOTION. It
United
was,
Studios at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he said, I want to be a part of this. I can tell like the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a great kid. We loved having him in class. And we actually really like having you in class now, too. I mean, you definitely bring a new energy to the dojo. Obviously, another adult body in the dojo. That's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been really good. And we're gonna get Inez in here. So Inez, just you wait. You're gonna be training too. So but Kyle, kind of tell us a little bit about what you do, and we're kind of gearing the show a little bit, especially the questions, towards your expertise, so to speak. So what is it that you do for a living right now?
All right. Well, my official title is security consultant. So I work in cybersecurity. And so the industry term is actually an ethical hacker.
Okay.
So we act as basically like a hacker would, and we're able to go out and find all of the places where there might be a vulnerability in a website or a bank app or just all the different systems that we use that are electronic. And we are able to find those holes. And then the consultant part of it is we then take what we find, we wrap it up in a nice little report, and then we present it to our client and our customer, and then basically tell them like, this is what we found. These are all the holes that we found, and this is our recommendation of how to fix it. And I mostly focus on like cloud security. I am on a team that handles a lot of cloud computing type systems. We work, as a third party. A lot of companies have like their own internal, like if you're big enough, they have their own internal team, but we work on kind of a outside perspective.
Okay.
And trying to get into various systems and things like that. The company that I work for, that's all we do. Like
Yeah.
we just do security consulting. Like I said, I work more on like cloud systems, but there's some other people that do like physical security where they'll actually try to get into like a bank server room or something like that, like
Really? So
actually
they're
on
like
location.
breaking in, so to speak?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh,
So they're
dang.
basically like, that's called physical security testing. So
That'd be fun.
try to, like, oh, I'm from IT. Can you give me your password to your computer so I
Oh,
can take a
wow.
look at it?
Yeah.
And trying to get people to think before they act.
Yeah.
And
That would be
also,
fun. I would love to do that.
yeah,
Basically be a professional thief, but
yeah.
not get in trouble.
Yeah, and other teams, they do like our cars. You think about how many computers are in our cars these
Yeah.
days. So we'll get a car in, tear it all apart, try to get into the various systems. As a car guy, you're just kind of like, oh,
They're
that's
just
this
destroying
poor
this car.
this poor car. But
Yeah.
now they're working on finding any vulnerabilities that might be within a
Yeah.
car's computer systems.
Yeah. No, I hear all this stuff and it's like, dang, I see that stuff happening in like movies,
Yes.
like the car thing with one of the Fast and the Furious where they hack in and basically start driving all these cars and crashing them. Did you ever see that one?
I have never
Watch
seen
the
any of
Fast
the
and the Furious.
Fast and Furious.
Oh, that should have been on my list
Uh-oh.
too. Dang it.
I know.
Yeah.
Can
As
we
a car guy, come on
I
now.
know, but I do have a car movie on my list.
Is it Cars?
It is not
Oh, okay.
Cars.
I think I know what it is.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. That was a good one too. So we're foreshadowing right now. Foreshadowing.
Ooh.
But no, yeah, that's really cool. We're gonna get more into that, especially with the questions, because we're gonna be kind of getting more in depth in terms of the online stuff that maybe a lot of us don't know and probably are glad we don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, I think if people really knew how vulnerable they were, especially online, like nobody would be online,
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but now we'll just kind of go through our weekly recap. How's your week been at work? How's it been at the dojo, Kyle? What's been your week like?
As far as work, pretty standard work week.
Yeah.
Just finished up one project, started another one.
There you go.
So I'm right in the
We
middle
won't
of
ask you the
next
details,
one.
so you don't have
Probably not
to
allowed
kill
to
us.
say.
Yeah. I would tell you.
Redacted.
Yeah,
Redacted.
I worked for Redacted and I did Redacted and it was a great time Redacted. Yep. All right, cool. That's awesome. Steven, how about you?
My week was fine.
Yeah.
Nothing happening.
Nothing too crazy.
I've got a bunch of new responsibilities at the home front. and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tearing on me.
Yeah. You got more to do.
More to do.
Yeah. Less people in the house, so more on your plate, so to speak.
That's right.
Both literally and figuratively.
There's less on my plate.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
There's more on my plate figuratively.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
How
But
was
no,
your week?
it's been good. The tush push was not banned. Too bad for you,
Wow.
Kyle. Your team tried to ban it. You're a Packers fan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they proposed the banning of the tush push and they lost.
Big moment.
Honestly, ironically, by the same score as the playoff game.
Wow.
So the vote went 22-10, and the playoff game was 22-10. So I was like, oh, that's pretty ironic. So
That's ironic.
yeah, but it's been a good week. Shannon came back from Cleveland yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's not a fan.
No, I didn't think so.
It's not much to do in Cleveland. She did go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum, and she said that was really cool. That was pretty neat. She saw a lot of cool memorabilia from, past artists and stuff like that. So, and it's interesting because she didn't know that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame encompassed all music, not just rock and roll, which why did they call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if I don't know. So, but yeah, apparently there's like hip hop artists, Dolly Parton's in it, Bob Marley's in it. It's not just rock and roll bands. So,
Interesting.
yeah. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. She wanted to go to the Football Hall of Fame Museum, but that was about a 2-hour drive away from Cleveland. And she's like, I'm not doing that. So, but someone from the conference she was at went, and they said it was really cool. And they said at least twice a month, they'll have Hall of Fame players come and give a speech to people at the museum. So he said some guy was there he didn't recognize, or Shannon forgot the name of who it was. I was like, yeah, must have been a really good Hall of Famer. Nobody knows who he was. So I'm assuming he was old. But
That's funny.
yeah, so it's been a good week, and we're moving on to Memorial Weekend.
That's right.
We got Memorial on Monday. That's always a lot of fun. An extra day off.
Yesterday, everyone.
Yeah, it was yesterday for people listening.
For people listening to this right now.
Yep.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Hopefully you had plenty of good food and barbecue, and we always like to watch like patriotic movies on Memorial Day and like 4th of July. So unfortunately, our go-to one right now seems to be Lone Survivor. That one always makes Maya cry at the end. The end. Have you guys ever seen Lone Survivor?
I have not.
No.
It's a good movie.
Not very patriotic, apparently.
Apparently not. It's actually really good. It's about I believe it's called Operation Red Wing, where this group of Navy SEALs goes into part of Afghanistan in the Hindu Kush villages, and basically they kind of stir the hornet's nest, and they make an ethical decision on whether or not to do something, and they do the right thing, but the right thing ends up costing like almost all of them their lives. So spoiler alert.
Wow.
If you
Spoiled.
can't tell by the title, only one of them lives.
Whoa.
Lone Survivor.
No way.
It's based off of the book of the same name by Marcus Luttrell. Marcus Luttrell. I think it's either Marcus or Mark. Yeah, it's a Luttrell brother. He's got a twin that's a Navy SEAL also. I think it's Marcus Luttrell. Yeah, it's really good.
Isn't that so? There was somebody on there named Murphy, right?
Yes, that's where the Murphy challenge comes
and that's
from.
where the
Mike Murphy.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, I have heard of that story.
Yeah, the book is pretty amazing. The movie is very moving too. At the end of the movie is where it gets everybody all choked up because they show pictures of the soldiers.
Oh, so this is a true story.
It's based on. I mean, I don't know if it's really true, but based on as much as they can, a true story. So, but yeah, that's what we always like to do on Memorial Day. So,
Okay.
But moving on to our rest of the show, let's get on to our Liam's Facts. All right, last week's question was what bird's eye is bigger than its brain?
Whoa.
The answer was answered, I forget the username, but thank you, user on YouTube. They guessed 2, and one of them was correct. The answer is an ostrich.
An ostrich.
So an ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain.
Whoa.
Probably why it can't fly. It's not smart
Interesting.
enough. So, but all right, this week's question is going to be brought to you by Liam's dad. So, what's the question this week, Kyle?
All right. So another animal related.
I love them.
But a very extinct animal.
Okay.
Okay. So the spikes on the end of a Stegosaurus tail are known as a thagomizer.
Thagomizer.
Yes.
Okay.
Until 1982, they were just called tail spikes. So the question of the week is, how did it get the name Thagomizer?
Ooh.
Thagomizer. That's really hard. Okay, so that is the question for this week. If you know the answer, email us at truetalktuesdays@gmail.com or leave a comment.
Leave it in the comments.
Leave it in the comments.
We'll be sure to remember your name next time.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. My memory's kind of bad now.
Oh, you can write it down.
I could, but that would be too easy.
Too easy, huh?
Yeah. Remember, I'm a guy. We don't like to do easy things.
We like to do lazy things.
Exactly. Like just forget the name.
Okay.
So,
that's interesting.
yeah. But let us know your answer, and we will shout you out in the next episode.
Thagomizer. How did it come to be?
How did they get the name Thagomizer? Man, I don't even know how to spell that.
I didn't know it was a word.
I didn't know it was a word.
I can give you the spelling.
Yeah, it's like I think we just made that word up, but that's
cool
all right.
word.
Well, somebody had to have made that word up.
Yeah.
So
It's
exactly, it is a made-up
Probably
word.
the answer to the trivia.
Yeah,
I mean, words are just agreed upon gibberish.
exactly.
There we go.
So, but make sure also you like and share the show. Ask your friends what this answer may be, and then
Maybe
we'll
you'll
see.
Have a dinosaur expert among your friends.
Exactly. Dinosaur expert. That's exactly what we're looking for.
We need it.
But moving on to a word from our sponsor.
Yeah. TRUMOTION in motion, let's go. Gear up, stand tall, feel the flow. Kicking it strong with the best of the best. Streetwear fresh, put your style to the test. Karate vibes, yeah, we bring that heat. From tees to hoodies, keep it sharp, keep it sleek. T-shirt or hoodie, we got both. Subs for the grind, focus on growth. Stickers and swag, let the world know you rep style. Now let's go. TRUMOTION merch, yeah, we level up. Style so sharp, got that warrior's touch. Reppin' that swag, flex it, wear it proud. Support True Talks and wear it loud. Discipline, power, the heart of the fight. Your fit's gotta match your unstoppable might. Tigers and dragons, bold on the sleeve. Step in the dojo, they know you don't leave. Oh, step up, don't wait. Rock that fit, let's elevate. TRUMOTION merch, yeah, we level up. Style so sharp, got that warrior's touch. Rocking that drip, yeah, you own the crowd. Support True Talks and wear it loud. Yeah, we reppin' strong, no fear, no doubt. TRUMOTION merch shop is what it's all about.
All right.
Thanks, sponsor.
Thanks, sponsor. Make sure you go check out the stuff and support the channel, support the dojo. And moving on to our top 5. All right. This week's top 5 is top 5 2000s action adventure movies. So when I say 2000s, I mean 2000 to 2009, not 2010. So the cutoff is 2000 to 2009. So any movie in between then. Okay, so Kyle, let's start with you. What do you got for your top 5 list?
All right. So coming in at number 5, I
Okay.
have Gone in 60 Seconds.
I was going to say
Oh,
that.
nice.
I was thinking that was going to be it. That was a good one. I forgot about that one.
And that one is like early 2000s.
Yes.
And basically they went out and stole all the cars
It
that
still
I
holds
wanted in
up
high
today.
school.
It still holds up today. All those cars were rad.
Yes.
Those were cool.
Number 4, Casino Royale.
Oh, nice.
Okay, yeah, the James Bond movie. I'm
Yes.
sensing a theme with your movies.
So Daniel Craig, in my opinion, is one of the better James Bond, and I also kind of like that they made a transition to being less
Gimmicky.
gimmicky,
Yeah.
hokey.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Pierce Brosnan was okay, but the way they were taking the movies was not It was too campy.
Yeah.
It almost
and
started to turn into the Batman TV show.
So Pierce Brosnan, those movies were basically advertisements for BMW.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks ago, you had the car question.
Yep.
And I sent you the picture of the car museum.
Yes, you
They
did.
actually had a James Bond exhibit at the
At
car
the museum?
So
That's
we got to
cool.
see all the
James Bond
all
cars.
the James Bond cars, and like they were wrecked and full of holes.
Yeah.
And then they had the DB5, which is
That's
obviously like a $5 million car that
that's
they
an
don't
awesome
wreck.
car. Yeah.
But yeah, they and it's kind of interesting because people are like, well, why would you wreck this Aston Martin that's $200,000? It's like, well, that's kind of a drop in the bucket for a movie budget.
Yeah, exactly.
And then number 3 would be Taken.
Taken.
Yes.
Oh, dang. I
Whoa.
forgot that was in the early 2000s. Or I
Yeah.
shouldn't say, it was in the later, quote unquote, 2000s. What was it like?
2008.
8. Yeah.
Yep.
08.
Yep.
That's a great movie.
Yep. Taken original. Yeah. Taken 2 and 3. Yeah. They're
Taken
okay.
2 was,
The original was best.
yeah, the
Yeah.
original was by far the best one, for sure. Yeah, anytime you want to like scare your daughters into
That
doing the
changed
right
the
thing.
perspective of overseas travel for
Yeah,
a lot
be like,
of
hey, do you
Americans.
want to go out of the country? Let me have you watch.
Hey,
Taken
before you
first.
go,
watch Taken.
watch this movie.
Yep.
Yes. And we've all quoted the I have special
I have
skills.
a special set of skills. Yes.
Yes. And then number 2 would be Iron Man.
Iron
Oh,
Man. That's a
nice,
good
nice,
one.
nice.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of launched the whole
MCU.
MCU.
Yep.
And then I kind of cheated on top. So I put down the Matrix trilogy.
Okay.
But I know that Matrix 1 came out in 99.
Yep.
But if you average them out, that's why I'm saying trilogy pushes it into the 2000s.
There you
Oh,
go.
man.
Well, I mean, technically, 2 and 3 came out the same year. So, but I'm not
Yes.
counting the newest one. Have you seen the newest one?
I haven't.
Don't watch it. It'll ruin the other ones for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we have space for an honorable mention. right?
Absolutely.
Yes,
I've got
plenty of
tons of
those.
them.
And then honorable mention, No Country for Old Men.
Oh, man. Oh,
That
wow.
that one was interesting because I went in with a different viewpoint. Like I thought it was going to be a certain type of movie, and it wasn't.
Surprised you?
And I was like, so like if I rewatch it, I'll like it better because I know what it's gonna kind of be like. So when I was watching it, I was like, God, I'm like, this is not what I quote unquote signed up for. So it's an interesting movie, but that is a great movie. The Javier Bardem.
Yeah, I recently saw an interesting study that they did, and they went back and looked at like 160 like movie villains, and the villain from No Country for Old Men was like the closest that you could possibly get to an actual
person. Yeah.
psychopath.
Wow.
He was pretty creepy in that movie.
Yes,
Brendo. And he had such a great like dialogue and accent, and most people don't know that he's Spanish, right? I
I
think he's from Spain,
I don't know.
but he does have like a really thick accent, but you would not know that by watching that movie. I always get him and Jeffrey Dean Morgan confused because they're damn near the same person. It's crazy. So, all right. Any other honorable mentions?
That's it.
Man,
Oh,
look
boy.
at you. Only one. I've got like 15.
Okay.
All right, Stephen, what do you got on your list?
Okay. Honorable mentions. I've got National Treasure.
Yep, that's a good one.
Seen that multiple times.
Yep.
I have Night at the Museum.
That is a good one.
Seen that
Yeah.
a few times. That was funny.
Would that be more comedy or
It's an
action
adventure.
comedy?
It's an adventure.
Okay, you got it on that one.
It's an adventure.
It is an
Okay.
adventure. Yes.
Um,
How much money do you think that movie drummed up for like natural history museums?
They were probably struggling before, and
Now
then
they're
They're
not.
less struggling.
Yeah,
now.
I agree. Good for them.
But I don't think the profit margins on those things is very high. They get a lot of subsidies and
Yeah,
grants
donations. Yeah.
and donations, and
Yeah.
people just giving their old National Geographics or whatever.
Yep, exactly. All
So-
right, what else you got?
Starting my list, number 5, I've got Curse of the Black Pearl, Pirates of the Caribbean, 2003. Great movie. Should be on all the time.
Yeah, you're a pirate guy. So
Number 4 is At World's End, the third Pirates of the Caribbean. I like Dead Man's Chest a little bit better than At World's End, although At World's End does have the Davy Jones scene and whatnot and all that fun stuff.
yeah, no, they're pretty good.
So that's 5, 4, and 3.
Yep,
2 is going to be Iron Man as well.
Iron Man.
I saw that movie in theaters. It was amazing. It
Yes,
was really fun. And then number 1 is going to be Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Yeah, that was a good one. All right. Honestly, if you wanted to, you could have just lumped all of the Pirates movie into
I've got
a
more.
trilogy, a pirate trilogy.
Okay, that they'll take up the third spot.
Okay.
Number 4 then is going to be Born Identity.
Okay, that's another good one.
That's a good one that I've seen.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I like to read the book. I like to read the books.
I have the books if you want to read them.
Yeah, I want. I actually want to try to read those books.
Yeah, the books are pretty good.
Yeah, I would assume so. Because the movie was good, and usually if the movie's good, the book is way better.
The book is very different.
Yeah.
Like it takes place in the 70s. So the premise in the books is that Jason Bourne was kind of he came to be to fight Carlos the Jackal.
Okay,
He was like a counter to Carlos the Jackal. And so
is that where the Jackal movie came from?
So Carlos the Jackal was a real person.
Yeah.
And so Robert Ludlum, the guy that wrote the Bourne series, he kind of took a real person and incorporated it into his
Interesting.
book.
Okay. So
Yeah,
he was the
they're
counter,
intense.
Yes.
the counter to the Jackal. All right. What else you got?
And then I can't go an episode without mentioning Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder's on my
Tropic
list.
Thunder. That I would say, is that a comedy? But
It's an adventure.
It's an adventure. That is a great movie. I think it's probably definitely top 1 or 2 of most quotable movies.
It's
I've
so
ever
great.
done. So anytime someone says "you people," I always like, "What do you mean, you people?" I just can't help
You
it.
can't help it.
I can't help it.
It's muscle memory.
It's so
really.
good.
It's like you're not thinking.
Honestly, Robert Downey Jr. made that movie.
Mhm.
He really did. And the fact it was on such like a taboo type topic made it even funnier. And did you guys ever see that interview where he was on Rogan and they're like, do you think you could ever make Tropic Thunder today? And he goes, "Oh God, no." And he's all like, they're like, "So like, how did you tell
get away with it?"
Yeah, how'd you tell people you're effectively going to be doing blackface? And he goes, ironically enough, he goes, "Nobody really came at me for that. Everybody got on Ben Stiller's case for doing Simple Jack." So he's like, once they started hopping on him, he's like, I'm in the clear. I don't have any problems. So Tropic Thunder, that's a great movie. All right, so on mine, here's some honorable mentions. Damn, they're really good. So the 2000s, like now that I'm looking back on it, there was a slew of such good movies. Such good movies.
A lot of good movies.
Like Fast and the Furious, that's a great one.
Yes.
Shaun of the Dead.
Oh man.
That's kind of more of that like adventure. It's an action comedy. It's like
Mm-hmm.
or a horror comedy, which you normally don't hear those two words pair together. Horror comedy, but Shaun of the Dead's really good. Transformers, that's really good. The Pirate series, that's really good. V for Vendetta, that's a great movie. Sin City, that's another great movie. Blade 2. Blade 2. Blade 1 was in 98, so we can't use that one. But Blade 2, by a lot of people's, I guess, explanation, is the best of the series, and I would kind of have to agree. And that was directed by Guillermo del Toro. Like, I forgot that. And he's a phenomenal director. And Last Samurai. Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. Have you guys ever seen that?
I've seen that.
I have, yes.
Oh, God, that's such a good movie. Such a good movie. All right, now moving on to my list, I kind of cheated. The Lord of the Rings trilogy,
Oh wow.
because all of them came out in like the early 2000s.
They
It
all
was like
came out within a
01,
year.
02, and 03.
Yeah.
That's like the order. So the Lord of the Rings trilogy is really good. I always like to watch those. Gladiator, it's another great one. 300, that's always a good one. Black Hawk Down,
Oh wow.
I like that one. And obviously we all had Iron Man.
We all had
I
a common
Iron
thread
Man
here.
too. Common thread. We're all kind of geeky. So, but man, looking back on the early 2000s, or not early, but the 2000s, like 2000 to 09. Holy cow. Like, I'm kind of tempted to next week do the 2010s.
2010 to 2019.
Yeah, because there's such good movies. I
Mm.
mean, unfortunately, I feel like since 2020, the quality of movies have just kind of started tanking, in my opinion.
Hmm.
But
Well, I think the quality of the people watching the movies is like they don't care anymore. They'll just watch it anyway.
yeah, so I don't know. I haven't seen very many good movies in like a long time. I saw Thunderbolts over the
Okay.
weekend, and that was good. I was entertained by that. I was like, oh, this is fun. This is great. But I haven't really been able to say that about too many movies lately. And I like movies.
I recently saw we saw The Accountant too.
Oh wow!
I really
Yeah.
want to see that one. That
one
was good.
Really good. Yes.
Okay. I was hoping that was going to be good.
If you've seen, it's just as good, if
Is
not
the first
better
one?
than the first one.
I thought the
Wow.
first one was great.
Yeah.
And I think I like that they're going to be using the brother more in it.
Yes.
So like they're together through the whole movie. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but from what I've seen of the trailer, it looks like they're
Yes, he does
Buddy.
play a much larger role.
yeah. I like that actor too. That
Mhm.
John is it Berthnell? Berthnell?
Oh, I'm
I
so
can't
bad
pronounce
with
his name.
actors.
Yeah. I thought he did a great job as the Punisher in the MCU TV series. Like he fits that character to a T. Like his nose is all jacked up anyways. And it's like, okay, yeah, that guy looks like he could throw down. So, but let us know what your top 5 list of 2000s action adventure movies are. Let us know if we missed any or what
it in
your
the
favorite one
comments
is.
below.
Yep, leave them in the comments down below. And again, make sure you like and share the show. Hey, that rhymed. I didn't even wasn't even planning on it. So, but moving on to our Ask a Sensei. All right, this week's Ask the Sensei is more so Ask a Hacker, because we're having Kyle ask some questions that we're going to try to give some answers to, and then he's going to really kind of give us the answers to them. So, all right, Kyle, lay some questions on us. What's the first one?
All right. Well, I went through and thought of some questions, just some common things.
Mhm.
It's kind of in cybersecurity, you have like blue team and you have red team. So blue team, you're defending. Red team, you're actually going out and attacking. So
Okay.
my position is considered more of a red team. We're
Okay.
actually attacking
Red team, go.
systems. There's generally there's more blue team people like monitoring and responding to
Yeah.
attacks and things like that. So to be in like the position that I'm in, it's a little bit more rare in the industry. And when people, find out what you do for a living, they automatically go to like the movies.
Yeah.
Right.
The whole like couple keystrokes on the computer and then
I'm
I'm
in.
in.
1, 2, done.
Yes.
Just that simple.
Doesn't quite work like that.
Does not.
But
Dang it.
just
So
kind
the
of thought of
movies
some.
lied to me?
Yes, they did.
Oh, the whole world is shattered.
I mean,
Dang it.
I always thought martial arts movies were true. I
Whoa.
was expecting my black belt after 3
Oh.
weeks.
They are true, but they're not like 2 days into training crew.
Yes, I'm
Wash
finding
my
that
car.
out.
Yes.
Clean the floor.
I should start adapting some of those old premises like, hey, the dojo's clean. Everybody grab a towel, sand the floor, and just have it. Actually, there are dojos that still do that, especially in Japan.
Yeah.
And it's considered like an honor thing. Like they want to take care of it, which I think is
Oh, that's their
freaking
That's
awesome.
culture.
Yeah.
They're-
Yeah.
Like
And
kids
apparently-
clean their own schools.
I was going to say that the kids clean. They don't have any janitors in schools. Kids clean their whole school. So, all right, but sorry, continue on.
No,
I
that's fine.
interrupted you.
So, like one question that people kind of casually ask us is, "Can you hack into my?" and then insert boyfriend, girlfriend's,
Oh, yeah.
ex's account, Facebook account, bank account, and the answer is no.
Okay.
What?
No. So, first off, if we were to do anything outside of work, if we did the same thing that we do, it would be illegal. And so
Well, I mean, it's only
number one,
illegal if you get caught, right?
So I always jokingly say I only hack things that I own, but if I hack it, I own it.
There you go. Hey, loophole. Whoop.
Yep. But no, like if we were to try and do the things that we do outside of work, it would be illegal and we could go to jail for it. So
Now, let's say someone, quote unquote, were to, it's not as easy like as just trying to guess their password, right?
so I mean, there is that method, like getting somebody's password or
Mhm.
guessing somebody's password, and I'll kind of go over that.
I was going to say, at that point, you kind of have to know who they are a little bit, right?
Right. So it's still like you still shouldn't be breaking into
No, I
somebody's
agree.
account, but and a lot of the methods that we would do, like the attacks that we do against systems, would be straight up illegal. And hopefully, there's not a way to get into a system without a password and a username, but have seen it before. So
Really?
yes.
Where you've gotten into something without a username or password?
Yep.
Oh, dang. Okay. Hopefully it wasn't that important. Or they fixed the issue.
They paid him to figure out why people were getting in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's
so
wild.
I have seen in the wild ways to get in as like an administrator without actually having the administrator password and username.
Whoa.
Really? So you've seen just people doing it
Like on
like
engagements that I've been on.
company time?
Yes.
You can't do this outside of engagement.
Yeah,
It's
just
illegal,
remember,
right?
We're not saying, all disclaimers, we're not saying to do these things. We're talking to a trained profession.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And so hopefully that company
Fix
then
their
saw
problem.
that we could bypass their login security. And
Dang, I know you. I know you're not going to say on the air, and I appreciate that. I may ask you off the air, like, who the heck was this moron that did this? Not the moron that hacked in, but the moron that set it up.
yeah, so we
Jeez.
have seen that, and you put in.
At that point, when you see something like that blatantly stupid, that you're like, dude, for lack of a better term, I hit 2 keystrokes and I'm in your like multi-million-dollar whatever. Do you just call the company and be like, are you guys idiots?
So there are times when we can find something that's as serious as that we will contact the company like right away.
Yeah.
And say like, this is a serious, we consider that a critical. And so the things that we find can be, normally they're high, medium, or low, depending on the risk and how easy it is, and the potential for information disclosure or manipulating
makes sense.
the server or whatever. We rate it. But if it's something that could like potentially be a huge risk, like bypassing and getting in as an administrator, then we would contact them and say, hey, you need to take a look at this right now. This is what we did. Here's how you can do it. And, this is what we suggest for the fix.
Okay. Yeah, I would be like, I'd be furious. I'd be like, are you serious? It was that easy to get in here? It's probably a good thing I'm not a hacker. I'd be calling people stupid all over the place.
Well, and the whole point of doing this, we don't ever want like we work with the developers, right? And we tell them what is wrong with their particular service or their system or their server or whatever it is that we're testing. It's never our intention to be like point and like, like your system is vulnerable. Like you suck as a developer. That's not the point.
Yeah.
We want to be able to show them that they are like where they can improve their security and guide them through the process of how to fix that.
Yeah, it's like plugging the holes in a ship.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're trying to find those holes in the ship before they become a problem.
Before it sinks the ship.
It's not a zero-sum game. It's like you're working with the other team.
Yes.
To be like, hey, let's spar for a bit. Let's use a karate term. Let's spar for a bit. Oh, oh, you're not keeping your guard up.
Yeah,
I'm getting you
exactly.
right here.
Yeah.
Why don't you lift your hands up a little bit higher?
So just like you're giving gentle correction, like, hey, you're leaving this open in your defense. Let's see how we can improve your defense. We're also doing that with our clients. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's a delicate balance because the projects and the services and the websites and the apps that these people are developing, they're like their baby. They're like their
Oh yeah.
And so we don't want to go in and say like,
You don't want to
"Oh,
crush their hopes and dreams that they're
Yes.
stupid.
yes,
I say all these things, but like I feel like I probably wouldn't be so mean in real, like if I'm really dealing with them. But it's like just backhand compliment after a next, just like, oh yeah, that'd be really great, but this is bad. Whack. Or like, hey, this is really good, but it doesn't work really well. Whack. And just I don't know.
yeah."
But I agree, because you're dealing with people where it's like they spend their whole life like developing this or that, or they're
Mhm.
quote unquote married to this setup. And it's like, no, this setup's not good. Don't do it.
Yeah. Well, and we don't generally test in like a production environment. We're testing in a test environment.
Okay.
And so a lot of times we will test before they launch. And so they're looking at launching at this date.
Yeah.
Well, they have to get all these things fixed before they launch, fixed and retest it. So,
Well, that makes me feel a little bit better, as opposed to just like, well, I'm just going to launch and then we'll fix it on the go.
yeah.
Like, no, don't do that. Only stupid people do that.
Well, and there are some companies that are very security forward. Like they want to find these, and then there's some clients that you wonder if
Like, should you
anything-
really be in charge of this? I don't know, buddy. Yeah.
But at least we're able to show them.
well, hopefully
what-
they most of the time they listen, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they do.
Good. So I'd be a little worried if it's like, hey, here's all these vulnerabilities, and they're like, whatever. That's just because you're a hacker.
Well, there's a lot of fallout if data gets leaked. Like a lot of
Yeah.
companies are held liable,
Mm-hmm.
especially if like it's personal data and medical data and things like that.
Yeah, I'm actually listening to a book where they talk about one of those major data breaches in like the 2010s, and then they set up another website for people to give them more personal information to see if their other personal information was leaked.
Hey,
So
can you
it's
match
just like-
this for us?
Yeah, and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's people just stop it.
One of the largest hacks of the 2010s, the hackers got into a corporate network through a air conditioner unit.
Whoa.
So like actual spy stuff, they're like crawling through the ducts.
So no,
Was it
so they
digital?
were
Oh.
able to hack into the air conditioner unit, and then
Oh.
the network trusted the air conditioner unit.
And
And
that's how they got
They
in.
were able to go in and find all the customer data, kind of acting as the air conditioner.
The air conditioner stole all my information, man. That honestly sounds like that my dog ate my homework.
Yeah.
Could
so
you
that-
imagine explaining that to like people that got their information stolen and like identity theft? Like, how'd you let this happen? Well, our air
We had a
conditioner
rogue air
stole it.
conditioner.
Yeah, our air conditioner kind of went off the deep end and stole everybody's personal info. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's been some crazy hacks. The shipping company Merck they had one computer that had a tax software from Ukraine, and Russia sent out with I don't know if they ever proved that it was Russia, but they're pretty sure it was
Yeah.
Russia. Sent out a virus to attack this tax software,
Uh-huh.
this Ukrainian tax software, and it took out 50,000 computers. It spread from that one computer to 50,000 computers
Wow.
within Merck, and basically shut them down for several months.
Months.
Yes.
Oh, dang. Yeah. Like I'm honestly kind of glad I don't know everything that goes on cyberly, because I would be like, all right, I'm throwing the computer off the desk. I'm trashing my cell phone. Be like, I'm not living anywhere where there's anything that can listen to me. Like, where's my phone? Turn the mic
Put
off.
the tape over the camera.
Exactly. Whoa, stop. You can't see me.
Yeah.
I get freaked out with that stuff.
Well, and it's one of my cybersecurity TAs when I was in school. He said, "The more you're into this, the more paranoid you're gonna get."
I don't
And I
get yeah. Like even just talking with you right now, I'm like, oh my god, like we're all just everything's listening to me.
Okay, so counter question: as a regular consumer, how effective are VPNs?
So VPNs, I mean, they do, like, I work from a VPN. So we have a company VPN that we work from
A lot
just to
of
make
companies
sure
do.
that we're, and that's very useful for us because we're, I work from home. Some people work in the office, but we're all testing from the same VPN. So it's basically a concept that we call defense in depth. So sometimes we'll find something that's like buried way deep in the server, and we're like, this is a vulnerability, and the service team, the development team is like, well, like, we don't need to fix that. It's so deep in the server that nobody's ever going to find it. So we explain to them, we look at defense in depth. So you're basically putting up these different security checks
Right.
before you can even get in there into their servers or compromise their system. And so a VPN is a good way to like protect yourself. If you're on a mobile network or if you're on your home network, that should be secure enough as long as you've got your passwords and everything
Yeah.
in place. If you're on a website and you'll see like a little lock up in the top, and that's means that all of your data is being transferred over a secure connection, so nobody in the middle can listen to it. So just different things like that.
Okay.
A VPN can be useful, but I know VPNs can, like, I use a VPN sometimes, but then like Netflix won't let me
Right.
use a VPN.
There's
Hulu,
counters.
Yeah. So
Like, wait, you're trying to access this from the UK? What are you trying to do?
yeah. So I mean, there are times when a VPN you can't use it. Like
Yeah.
my bank app won't
Yep.
let me use it. So
Yeah, Shanna also told me that if you ever are on an open like Wi-Fi, like public Wi-Fi network, like you see in like restaurants or hospitals or
Yeah.
just where they're quote unquote free,
Mhm.
she's like, never log into your bank on an open network.
yeah,
like that.
I would not use it at all.
Yeah,
I would just use my
You-
mobile data.
use your data.
Because so if I wanted to, I could bring in they call it a rogue Wi-Fi rogue
Okay.
Wi-Fi device.
Uh-huh.
Well, if you've got your Wi-Fi, and I'll bring that up here in a minute as one of the other points, but you can actually set up a Wi-Fi as anything. So if your Wi-Fi is TrueMotion, I come in and I put in TrueMotion 2 and leave it open. Well, how do I know that
That's me or not me.
that's TrueMotion, or is it a rogue Wi-Fi point?
Interesting. Because it's kind of crazy because the dojos has two. So they have like a main one and they have like a quote unquote guest one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's Sojo Dojo, and it's like, I think it's just Sojo Dojo 2. I call it 2.0 because it's the second one. And there's like a 5, and then there's another one where it's like 2.5 or something. So I'm assuming the guest one's slightly slower. So it's interesting. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. So you don't want to connect to any Wi-Fi that you're not actually like
Very familiar with.
or
Yeah.
logging into,
Mhm.
and making sure that that's like actually the Wi-Fi.
I hate
that
it when you're in like
connected
hotels and you have to use the hotel Wi-Fi, but yet like the service is so bad it forces you to use the hotel Wi-Fi. Like, that drives me crazy. It really does. Like that's one of those things that it's like you're forcing me to use your crappy Wi-Fi that I don't know if it's granted I do have to log in. I got to put all this information blah blah blah. But it's like I don't want to log into the hotel Wi because everybody's on it, so it's super slow.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like I'll just use my data, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's
Data's
like
gone.
1G. I got 1 bar. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. So I actually went to a hackers conference down in Vegas,
Okay.
and they have I believe they call it the Wall of Pwn. And
Wall of Pwn.
Pwn is basically like a
That's
slang
a term
term
I've not
of,
heard in a long time.
yeah, it's a slang term of like, I got your information.
Yeah,
Like,
you're getting owned.
you can actually go to a website called Have I Got Pwned, and you can see if your emails have been associated with any data breaches.
Oh, jeez.
But
Oh, man.
they call it the Wall of Sheep, or I can't remember exactly, but anybody that goes to the conference and signs on to one of their rogue Wi-Fi
Oh,
points,
gets put on.
they'll put their username and
It's like
password.
the wall of shame.
Yes.
Wow.
Puts their username and password, be like, all right, everybody, steal their stuff. They deserve it. They're an idiot.
Yeah.
Wow.
HackerCon
okay.
is brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called DEF CON.
DEF CON. DEF CON 1.
Yes.
All right.
And it is quite the collection of interesting people.
Now, are they the stereotypical looking type people? Like, because when you hear like hackers, you think, the big nerdy guy with glasses living in his mom's basement and like, Mom, I need some Hot Pockets down here. I'm working. It's crap like that. Like, I know that that's not real, but there's got to be people out there that are like that.
I mean, you've got your extremes.
Yeah.
Everybody. Huh?
I think I'm kind of on like the not nerdy stream, because I sign on, I do my work,
And you're married.
and I'm married. I do have a lot of coworkers that are married.
Okay, good.
They're just normal people.
Yeah.
Most you would never suspect of them to be like a hacker.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of on the extreme where I do my work and then I sign off and I don't want to be in front of a screen.
Yeah. You're like, I'm done.
And
I'm
then
done.
you have other people that I work with. They're setting up like home labs and things
Yeah.
that they can set up like hacking environments, and they go out and they compete in like hacker competitions. And
Really?
So there's like capture the flag competitions where you have to go into a server and find different flags. And
Wow. Okay.
usually like you find the first flag and it'll give you kind of a clue to where the second flag is. So you'll find like the first flag is to find the administrator username and password, and then you log out and sign in as the administrator, and that leads you to the
next
second
one,
flag.
To the next one.
And so
Yeah.
whoever can find all these flags first is the winner. And there are people that do that. I mean, I do study and try to keep up on the industry, but
Well, that's just called being a professional.
yeah. But for the most part, when I'm off, I'm off.
You're
And when I'm
done.
on, I'm on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But other people, it's like they do have like the home labs, and they set up their own servers, and they go out and they compete and different things like that.
Yeah, I just picture them in like this custom recliner chair, and their keyboards on like a tray in
We
front
have the
of
green
them.
characters coming down
Yeah,
the screen. And
yeah,
like,
exactly. It makes sense why you like the Matrix so much. Yeah,
I do have some. I do.
and you have multiple screens, don't you?
I do. I have 3 screens. I have a gigantic main screen and then 2 smaller screens.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of times I have my work computer, and then I am signing on to a cloud computer, and then I'm using that cloud computer to access other servers or other cloud computers or other
Yeah.
internal systems that I'm working on. And so it's kind of this computer inception.
Yeah.
So a lot of times so with my laptop, I have 4 screens, and I'll usually have like Spotify over on my laptop screen. 'Cause,
Uh-huh.
got to listen to the music while you're working.
Yep.
And then I'll have the cloud computer on my main screen and then the laptop on another screen. And so.
Okay. Well, let's move on to another question.
Sure.
Because I feel like we beat that one into the ground.
All right.
So the problem with like me not asking the questions is like I'll ask a lot more questions.
That's fine.
That's why we bring them here.
Yeah,
so we can
exactly.
ask them questions.
Yeah.
We're
It is
curious.
Ask a Hacker.
All right. So question number 2: How do I keep myself safe online?
Don't go online, people. It's bad. Don't do it.
That would be probably the best way,
Yeah.
but kind of hard to
Yeah,
be
you
part of
can't-
modern society.
Exactly.
So first off, first line of defense: use strong passwords.
Strong passwords.
Non-negotiable. So 8 characters probably just doesn't cut it anymore. You're going to want to...
I hate how I have to use like special characters and crap like that now. Like, really, do I have to put an exclamation point or an @ symbol in there for reals? Stupid. God. Sorry. Yeah, little tangent.
Little rant.
little
It's
little
okay.
rant,
Yeah.
but
That's okay.
when...
You touched on a nerve.
Yeah. So you got to have so many. Everything has to have a
He's
password.
hacking you right now. He's
Everything
on
has
red
to have a
team.
password right now. Clearly, I have a special character in most of my passwords.
We found a
But,
flag.
Yep, red flag.
Yep.
But like, man, I feel like I need like an entire section on my phone for notes of passwords. Password. Oh, you can't use this password for that. You've already used it once. Son
That's
of
the
a-
same password. Why are you trying to put it in when you change your password?
Yeah, I forgot my password. Changed the old password. It's the same password. God damn it! What the hell?
So that is where a password manager comes in.
Okay.
And that is one of my suggestions for staying safe online, is to use a password manager so you can have more complex passwords.
Because
not
yeah,
have
that's my
to-
problem. Is if I use a super complex one, my ass forgets it.
Yeah.
Now, is Google an effective password manager?
I mean, Google is a very security forward company, so I would say yes. There are third party password. So like Password One, or no, One Password
Okay.
is one that I hear get recommended a lot.
Yeah. Because that's a problem. Is like I'll have them saved on my computer, and then I won't remember them because it's like, why do I? They're saved on my password. Then all of a sudden you try to log on to another one,
Different computer.
a different computer. Like, what's your password? And I'm like, I have no freaking idea.
Where is it? You're supposed to know. You're
Yeah,
supposed to tell me
exactly.
what my password is.
Hey, computer, you're the smart one.
Yeah. So I mean, I always say to treat your password like your underwear.
Okay.
Change it often. Don't show them off to anybody. Don't share them with anybody.
Yeah, that's weird. Don't share your
Make
underwear
them a
with
little
people.
fancy.
Yeah. Okay. Man, I need to start changing my
But
password.
good, Kyle.
so you do bring up like a special character.
Uh-huh.
So just adding like a special character, like it basically. So the more characters that you have in a character set, the exponentially more difficult it is to actually discover it. And the way that passwords should be stored within an application or website, they're not stored in plain text. They're stored using what's called a hashing algorithm. And so they take the password and then they turn it into a random string of characters. And then when you type in your password, the service should take your password, turn it into the random string of characters and make sure that it's the same as the one that's stored in the system. And so they're not actually storing your password. And that's something like if we see that they're storing plain text passwords, that's like 20 or 2002 type stuff. Like
Wow.
anybody like that's storing
so 2000s.
Yes, that's so 2000.
Yeah.
So, or even past that, like there's nobody that should be storing.
You mean there were computers before the 2000s?
Yes.
Holy crap. Dang. Okay. We say that, but there's a group of young people that probably don't know that we're kidding. I'm kidding, by the way.
You're kidding?
There were computers back in the 1900s. I say that, but
Yeah. I mean, We grew up going to the encyclopedia for our reports.
Yeah, we had to look things up on books. There's these things that open and close. Like, what are those? I
I
honestly,
could not copy paste with a
no.
pencil.
No, you can't. No, you can't. I always laugh because anytime I joke and I think of movies, when you hear the term "it's in the computer," you've seen Zoolander, right?
Oh yeah.
When they start like hopping up on the desk and smacking the computer, it's in the computer. Yeah, sorry. If you haven't seen Zoolander, check it out. It's funny.
Yes,
That's
have.
a 2000s, but it's not an action movie. It's a comedy.
It's an adventure.
It is an adventure.
That's
We could put that in anything.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
It has
So,
plot.
going back to passwords, if you have an option to use multi-factor authentication, then use it. MFA is like...
So the multi-step is that
Yeah, so like getting a text.
I hate those.
Yeah.
Here's another rant.
Yeah, everything's got to have one now.
Yeah.
Would you like to have facial recognition to get your password? No.
Do you want
I know
your
my
fingerprint
password.
recorded?
Yes.
There's a meme that goes around in the hacker world, and it's somebody playing Uno, and the card says enable multi-factor authentication or draw 20
Instead of
and it
plus.
shows somebody with
20. I would be that
cards.
20 card person. Like,
Oh.
for reals. It's like, seriously? But again, I understand it.
Mhm.
It's just another layer of protection.
Right.
But it's just so annoying, in my opinion.
It
in my
is.
opinion. Maybe
It
I'm the
is.
only one.
No,
but
you're not the only one.
like,
They're
really?
making memes about it.
Yeah. Do I have to receive another text or email to prove that I'm this person after I've logged onto it 20 times today?
Yeah.
But I get it.
And so there's 3 different things that you can use for security.
Okay.
There's what you know, what you are, or what you have. And so if you incorporate just one of those, like, a thumbprint would be one, or a password would be something you know. Thumbprint is something you are. If you have like I have a little YubiKey that I have to actually physically touch in order to sign on to some.
Do your physical hackers try to hack those?
I'm sure that there's somebody that does
That'd be so
does
cool.
that.
Just like take a piece of
Get
tape.
prints and then put it on like
Yeah, they did that on
little
Mythbusters
scanner.
one time to see how viable or how hard it is to actually cheat the thumbprint scanners on some. I mean, granted, this was probably 15 years ago, so I'm hoping the technology's changed.
So I don't deal with physical devices,
Yeah.
but there are people in my company that do.
That's cool.
And kind of an interesting story that we had shared with the company, like somebody came up, they had like some sort of security device, and they made it, the manufacturer made it so that you couldn't, like, everything was sealed, so they covered it in like a layer of an epoxy. And they're like, in order to, if you were ever to try to get to it, you'd destroy it. Well, somebody from our company was like,
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. And they actually submersed it in liquid nitrogen. It shrunk the epoxy, and they were able to get to the device.
wow.
That's cool. That's awesome.
So, yes.
Way to think outside the
Take
box.
some pretty creative people there.
Yeah, I mean, they call them life hacks, even though a lot of them are really not.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've just got to come up with like a creative way to use something.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times what that is just figuring out how a system works first and then seeing how to break it.
Yeah.
So, yep, MFA,
Password,
sorry.
multi-level,
Yeah,
whatever.
multi-factor
Yeah.
authentication.
stupid text messages.
Yes. And then, so also kind of take inventory of like, what are your keys to the kingdom, right? So like your phone is going to be a key to the kingdom, a laptop or something like that. So you're going to want to make sure that they're extra secure. So you don't want to ever have your phone unlocked. You got to have a passcode on it.
Yeah.
The longer the passcode, the better. If you think about, like, if you do 4 numbers, you've got 10,000 combinations. If you go to 6, you got 1 million.
Oh, wow.
So just adding another number to it
Interesting.
infinitely increases the chances of it like not getting hacked.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
and that's the same with passwords. Like if you add even a special character or numbers to it, it makes it infinitely more difficult to hack. And
that makes sense.
so, I mean, one method that you can do is do like 3 words. So if you use 3 words that you can remember, string those in as a password, and then add some special characters and numbers, then you're pretty much got a
3 words would be, this is bull.
yeah. You don't want so yeah. You wouldn't want to make it like something common.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's
Just-
my problem. If it's not common, I forget it.
True.
Yeah. No, but I agree. You definitely want to make sure that it's something like that pertains to you,
Mm-hmm.
or only people that know you may figure it out. Obviously, your significant other, or your spouse, or your whoever's close to you should know it just because they know you. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah. No, I agree. It's crazy because yeah, like the simple things is like going from four key or like a 4 number to a 6 number. My God, from 10,000 to 1,000,000, that's a huge jump.
Yeah, and if you like with we have password crackers, like really powerful computers that can crack a password. If you go from like 8 characters to 16 characters, you're looking at like a year to crack it at 8 if it's just random string of numbers and characters,
Yeah.
to like 1,000,000,000,000 years
Oh, wow.
to crack it if you go to 16 characters.
Dang. Okay.
So I always imagined, and maybe this is the movie influence, but passwords are like the app Wordle, right? So you have these blanks, and the computer like tries to just puts in something, and it's like, oh, yellow means it's there, but it's in the wrong spot. And it's like, "Doot-doot-doot-doot," and then it gets all green, and then it unlocks. I assume it's a little different in the real world.
Yeah. So it should be storing passwords as a hash, so a random string of characters that it runs it through an algorithm, and every word should be completely
Just
different.
a random jumble.
Just a random jumble.
Makes sense.
And so it stores it as that. There's even more secure ways to store a password. You can add what's called a salt to it. And a salt is just like it sounds, like a little bit of extra few characters
Okay.
that are tacked on to the end, and then it will take the hash of that password and turn it into something completely different. But then, so you can't decode it, but you can encode it,
Okay.
and you can compare it to the 2 outcomes on the hashing algorithm.
Interesting.
Got it.
Okay. Any other ways to keep us safe online?
Yeah. So I did mention like Wi-Fi.
Yes. Yes,
So,
you did.
I ran into a guy once, and he's like, my Wi-Fi network is called Bill and Sadie. It's my first name, and that wasn't their real names.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I gotcha.
he's like, that's my first name and my wife's name. I was like, well, you just gave away your name.
Yeah.
Like,
Get your name out
I can
there.
literally walk in front of your house, see your Wi-Fi, see when it disappears, eliminate which house it is, and go and knock on the door, and then
Like, hi, is Bill and Sadie here?
yeah, exactly. So I guess that falls into kind of like a situational awareness. So like with martial arts, we're teaching people, get off your phone, look around, like be
Keep your
aware
head
of your
up.
situation. You also need to do that when you're with cybersecurity. So you want to get as little information out there as possible. But like social media, if you're on vacation or something like that, probably not a good idea to post
Where you're at.
where you're at.
That's true. I
And
never
you-
thought about that until Shanna told me that.
Well, and you can be like, well, I only have a few friends. I trust all my friends. Okay, but what about your friends' friends? Like if
Exactly.
they-
Yeah.
Exactly.
and you know, who knows who's seeing your pictures,
Mhm.
right? I mean, just be aware of what you're putting out there. Like, it's not so popular anymore, but like the stick figure families,
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a lot of information about who's driving that car from just the stick figures on the back.
Yeah.
Wow.
To before you put something on your car,
That's why I don't
just
put
think
any
about it.
stickers or license plate things.
Yeah. And just think about all of the information that you're putting out there. We here in Utah, if you're not from Utah, you may not be as popular, but we have like the MLM groups, right?
Yes. Yeah. We're the world leader in those, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, we
I
are.
don't know what that
Number
says
one.
about us
We're
here in
number
Utah.
one.
Yeah.
So MLM is multi-level marketing, where you sell direct to your friends and family. There are people in this area that actually go out to supermarkets and they look. They're trying to recruit for their MLM, right?
Yeah.
So they're not really doing anything malicious, but they'll like look at what's in your cart. They'll look at what is in, like what kind of logos you're wearing and stuff like that, and then they'll approach you and try to start up a conversation with you. And they're actually doing what's called OSINT. So it's where you're looking for public information and you're using that to get closer to whoever you're trying to.
That's just a big sales tactic.
Yes.
Yeah, like salespeople, you try to use that all the time. They call it like the investigation questions, where you're just asking questions to gain information to use against them.
Yes.
It's one of those. Man, you could take that any way you want.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I mean, like you called yourself, you're an ethical hacker.
Right.
Hopefully, if people do that sort of stuff, they use it in an ethical way, not in a damning, selfish, destructive way where it's like, well, I'm going to remember that and I'm going to use it again. It's like everything can and will be used against you in the court of law.
Wow.
It's like that. So,
And-
and I feel like that's like you were saying with social media stuff. It's the same thing with social media stuff. Like, if you're a big, like I saw this on, oh God, I can't remember what video I was watching, but they're like, oh no, it was a book I was reading. It's called A Violent Mind. And this guy was talking about how if you're always posting about like gun stuff and like what you do if anybody ever attacked you and like all these quote unquote things, he goes, if you ever get in trouble, they will refer back to those and they will use that against you, being like, you looked for a fight. And it's like, dang, he's right.
Well, and you bring up a good point. Like, even if you're posting on Facebook or like on X or wherever, there are things that will go out there and scrape things. So even if you delete it, it's still
somebody has screenshotted it somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to OSINT, which is open source intelligence.
Okay.
So you like on Facebook. Well, so these people from the MLM, what they do is I've run into them a couple of times and I know exactly what they're doing, more so because I know kind of these techniques.
Yeah.
But I was wearing a jacket with an old company logo somewhere I used to work.
Yeah.
And they came up to me and they're like, "Oh, do you work for this place? How, like, I've thought about working there," when they're actually trying to recruit you for their MLM.
Trying to do anything.
So they're like, "Oh, well," they try to get you to talk about your job and disclose all this information, but they immediately see that you put something out there, like you're wearing a logo. So therefore they're able to kind of glean that information from you. And not saying that you have to wear like completely blank stuff.
Clothes.
Yeah.
But just be aware of what you're putting out there into the world, like what's on your car, what's on like what kind of logos you're wearing, what you're posting, what you're putting out there into the public domain.
Yeah, because everything you do gives somebody an opportunity to use it, whether that's good or bad. So you definitely want to make sure you're I don't want to ever say censor yourself, because I don't ever think anybody should censor
No,
themselves.
absolutely not.
But at the same time, understand that if you are not aware of what you're saying
Mhm.
or doing, you're just opening the door for anybody to use it against you.
Right. And
Yeah.
operate kind of with the fact in mind that what you put out there, you might be sending it out to good people,
Yeah.
but there might be other people that have
Not
other
everybody's going to
intentions.
hear it the
Nefarious
same way that you
means.
do.
And if it can get out to the good people, it can also get out to the bad people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's something everybody needs to kind of be aware of.
And
Question about that.
Sure.
In the past few years, recently, I guess, with the rise of more open social media, free social media, have you felt like people have just become more careless or lax in putting out their details from a personal level or even
Yeah.
from a company level?
I mean, I think that social media, it's still really in its infancy, right?
Mhm.
So now we're starting to see people that enter into like the social media group that were actually born about the same time that social media came to be.
Yeah.
So it is maturing, but it's still very immature
Yeah.
space for all of us. And I think that there's a certain amount of anonymity that we think we have online, and we're all we live in an era of keyboard warriors who
Yeah.
are experts in everything.
Yep.
So yeah, you really have to take a step back and think about what's going out from you. Like, I don't have social media, I don't have Facebook, I don't have Instagram and things like that.
I wish I didn't.
Yeah, well, and you're kind of in a
Yeah.
tough
different
spot
space,
because
yeah.
you run a business
Utilized a lot.
and you
We
utilize
try
that.
to. I don't do it as well as I should, but at the same time, it's like we've had parents
Uh-huh.
where I've taken a video and they're like, "I need you to take that down." I'll be like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah, I don't want my kid online."
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, "Seriously?" Like, your knee jerk reaction is like, "Really?" Like, come on, quit being so paranoid. But at the same time, it's like, I get it. Yeah. Like, you don't want your, images of you out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had one lady, I can't remember their name, but
Probably shouldn't say it on the show.
no, I'm not even going to say it on the show. They were dealing with like an adoption, and they're like, I posted something with the kid on it, and they're like, "Hey, I don't mean to sound like I'm causing trouble, but like, we can't have his image online because like his biological parents were put in prison and they're trying to find him."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll delete it. Sure, absolutely. Yeah, just I didn't know that, so make sure you let me know next time." So I was like, "Holy crap!" Like, yeah, that's crazy. I don't think a lot of people are very aware, like you said, where it's like they just say anything, which is great. You have the ability to say anything, but if it's reaching the good people, it's also reaching the bad people.
Mm-hmm.
So just be careful with what you post online.
Yes. I mean, we're free to say whatever
Exactly.
we want,
Exactly.
and for better or for worse.
Yes.
But we're not free from the consequences of that speech.
Oh,
And
well
I
said.
think that's something a lot of people forget. I agree, because you are free to say whatever you want, whether it's good or bad, like that's subjective. But at the same time, you also are not free to dictate how people react to your saying.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to react good. People are going to react bad. It doesn't matter. They have the right to react however they want to from what you said.
Right.
So,
Right. And I mean, we're able to ingest that speech and then decide,
choose to do with it what you want.
choose to do with it what we want,
Exactly.
for better or for worse.
Yeah, I agree. Any other ways to keep you safe online?
And then, so the last point that I would make is to kind of live with what's called a zero trust policy. And so that doesn't mean to go around and not trust anybody or anything, but it works under the principle of I'm not going to trust something until I confirm that it is coming from a reputable source.
Trust but verify.
Trust but verify. Exactly. And so if you get a text from your bank, rather than going through calling the number that the text came through, or the number that's included in the text, call your bank directly. Or if you get some sort of email like, hey, your Amazon package can't be delivered, is a pretty common one, right? Rather than clicking on the link, go into your Amazon account directly.
Yeah.
So you're basically skirting the notification system that people are using to scam. Don't respond to any. I know I get a few texts every once in a while that are like, "Hey, how you doing? Haven't heard from you for a while." Yeah, don't respond.
It's crazy because I think that happens to us a lot because we'll get leads and I'll send out text messages. Like sometimes I hear instantly, sometimes I don't. It takes a long time or I never hear from them. And it's like, how can I not get a hold of these people when they freely gave me their information? But that makes sense. I mean, everybody's definitely kind of watching themselves and if I don't hear from them, I'll be like, "Hey, how are you?" Like, just trying to spark something.
Right.
But now hearing that, it's like, okay, maybe and I try to say who I am. I'm like, you filled out blah blah
From
blah
here.
blah blah, and then
Right. And so you do have you kind of have to open yourself up to that.
yeah,
But personally,
you
I
try
wouldn't-
not to.
I wouldn't ever respond to that because they might be sending out like, "Hey, Jim, how are you doing?" And you respond like, "This is not Jim," but now they know that
This
there's
is
an
not Jim.
actual person behind that number,
yeah.
and then they can kind of put that in their record or whatever.
Honestly, I'll be honest with you, I'm really bad at that because I've had people text me and I'm like, "Hey, you got the wrong number." And then I end up, because I'm trying to be nice, and I'll end up having a conversation with them, and then they try to sucker me into doing stuff, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
Oh man.
I'm trying to be a nice person to you, GTFO.
Yeah.
And then Shanna's really taught me about this because I'll get text messages and emails and it's like, "Oh, your account's been hacked." And I'm like, my knee jerk reaction is like, "Oh, damn it."
Click the link. Click the
And I
link.
do. And it sends me to a website that looks exactly like the bank website. And then I look at the address and it's not. So then you're like, "Oh, okay, this is bad."
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah. So don't click on any links or anything like that.
Yep.
Just navigate directly to the website or use your bank app or something along those lines. But yeah, just have a zero trust. But you said don't trust but verify.
Trust but verify. There you go. Any other ways, or should we move on to the next question?
Sure. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. And then one of the common questions that I get is, how do you get into the industry?
Okay.
How do you become a hacker?
How do you become a hacker? You know a lot of things
You
about
just
a
really
lot of
like
things.
Hot Pockets, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Some people like pizza rolls.
Pizza
okay.
rolls. Oh, pizza rolls. Yes. Hot Pockets and pizza rolls is a prerequisite. Just kidding.
Could be.
Or Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, Mountain Dew.
Yeah, the
Code Red.
There are a lot of energy drinks and
Yes.
a lot of coffee
Yep.
involved in hacking.
And everybody always assumes that hackers are doing it in the middle of the night in the dark. Or at least maybe I do. It's no, they can. It's like a 9 to 5.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, mine is a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about hacking is a lot of threats come from overseas, so you're going to see more activity at night here.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so to get into the industry, there's kind of the more traditional route, which would be go to school for it, and there are a lot of certifications. In IT, there's a certification for just about everything. And so as part of continuing education, we do go after certifications and that kind of show that we know what we're actually doing. I kind of came through a different route. I worked in the medical field for a long time, And then around COVID,
Yeah.
it wasn't because of COVID that I left, but I just kind of got bit by
Yeah.
some sort of bug and decided, hey, I'm gonna see what else was out there, and I settled on cybersecurity. And so I did take a 6-month boot camp.
Yeah.
Came out of it, thought I knew a lot, and then I got into
The industry,
it,
like, I don't really
and
know as
I was
much as
like,
thought.
I don't know anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But what was unique about the company that I work for, and the company's name is NetSpy, and they gave me an opportunity to go into a training program, and it was 6 months of training, and it was basically, if I was a good fit for the company at the end of the 6 months, then I would have a permanent position. And
Yeah.
if I wasn't a good fit at the end of the 6 months, then we would both agree, like,
Just part
okay,
ways,
it's
yeah.
just time to take the
It's
things
a
that
mutual
you learn.
separation.
Yes. But I guess they took me from zero to
Yeah.
almost hero.
Well, and I think that's a great way for industries to do it, because they can train you exactly the way they want things done.
Yes.
And I think that's the problem with like a lot of industries nowadays that require degrees,
Mm-hmm.
is they go, like, a lot of students go through these programs and they learn it a certain way, then they go into the workforce, and the workforce kind of does it like that, but they have their own way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, I feel like if they would have just taken them like with zero, they can mold them into what they want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
And that's such a huge problem in a lot of industries, because you have like the book learning side of it,
Yeah.
but then you have like the knowledge.
Yes.
That
Well, and then
people-
like you said earlier, it's like you came in, you thought you knew a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and everybody that graduates thinks they know everything because they have a degree.
Right.
And to a point, they do know a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, there's a huge difference between book learning
Mm-hmm.
and practical knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it was kind of interesting as I got into it. So there were people in my group, in my class, so there's I believe 17 of us that started all together,
Okay.
and 14 of us made it through like the 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3 that didn't make it, they learned a lot, and they went out and said, I've got this experience and got great jobs.
Yeah.
So it all worked out in the end.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. But a lot of, so there's about half of the people in my kind of group were right out of high school, and then the rest of us were from all sorts of different industries. I think there was somebody that was military that came in. There was me that came in from the medical field. There's another person that came in from the medical field. Not somebody that was in my group, but somebody prior to us. They were an opera singer.
Yeah.
Another person that I worked with, he worked at a distillery before.
Okay.
So it's like all sorts of different vantage
Backgrounds,
points,
yeah.
and the backgrounds are just like they bring to them some very unique skills. And I think a lot of like bringing people in from different industries also allows for like those soft skills to be developed prior to entering the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So just like being teachable, being able to talk to different people. Like I in the medical field, I had to talk with a lot of doctors and nurses about pretty sensitive stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I've taken that skill and applied it to, now I'm talking to dev teams.
Yeah.
And talking to developers. And sometimes they're going to disagree with you, and you kind of have to work through that disagreement without coming across as a jerk.
Yeah. It's a skill.
Yes.
It's a skill, especially with people nowadays.
Yes.
So
yeah, I think we're a lot more isolated.
yeah.
And those soft skills do come into play. And so as they were looking for people to join the group, and this was back in 2022, they are looking for kind of those different different skills as far as like how can they present to a client, how can they communicate, are they teachable, different things like that. And if you're very teachable, no matter what your background, then you're going to do well in this industry. If you're not teachable, you're going to struggle.
I think that can be true for any industry, to be honest with you. If you're able to adapt and learn and move forward, man, that's an invaluable trait.
Yeah. Well, and just for example, AI, nobody was talking about AI in 2022.
No.
Like it was just barely coming out.
That was just sci-fi talk at that point.
Yeah. And now it's just exploded.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's people that are doing AI movies and AI, like all sorts of crazy pictures and
Terrible.
yes. And that's kind of a new frontier too, just like social media was, where we kind of don't know how to use it quite yet.
Yeah.
And what all it's not gonna break out, and Terminator isn't gonna happen.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I don't know about that. I've watched too many Skynet type scenarios. My computer, don't listen to me. It's okay.
Just be nice to your
Yeah.
Roomba.
Say
so when
thank
it
you
takes
to
over-
ChatGPT when it gives you an answer.
Exactly. Don't be like, you're stupid. Have you seen that video of that AI robot freaking out? That creeps me out, man. I don't know if it creeps anybody else out, but I'm like, see, Terminator. That's how it starts, right there.
I haven't seen that, but I'll have to look it up.
Oh man, I think they're trying to like unplug it, and it's literally fighting for its life.
I don't want to die.
Yeah, kind of. It's flailing its arms.
I don't want the power off.
It tries to escape its like harness. It's crazy. Like, no, bad. But yeah,
I mean, the computers are only going to be as evil as we make them out to be,
Yeah.
right?
Who's the real
As
villain?
we make them. Right?
who's the real villain?
Who's the real villain?
Yeah, who's the real villain?
I don't know. That's true.
Hmm.
But those are great questions, great answers. We appreciate your knowledge and insight on them.
Sure.
If you have any more questions, you can feel free to email us, and we'll get them over to Kyle, and he can answer them for us, or he can
Or he'll just hack your system and put
and
it in your
and
put
give,
the answer
give
in your
you
inbox.
the answer you never know you needed.
It's like, oh,
Yeah, be like, oh crap. Okay, but moving on to our fight scene. Here's our fight scene of the week. Okay, this week's fight scene, it kind of goes along with our 2000s action adventure movie. We have characters from those movies.
there's so many characters
Yes,
from that
there
era.
are a lot. But these I think would be an interesting dynamic. So let's see how this goes. We have more specifically Legolas, the elves from the Lord of the Rings saga. Legolas versus the Na'vi from Avatar.
Oh,
Okay.
the Airbender?
No, not the Airbender.
Oh, the blue people.
The stupid blue people.
Oh,
Because the Na'vi are slightly elvish looking.
they're based on it. Yeah,
They're giant
they're
elves.
long-limbed
but
climbers.
they have pointy ears.
They use a bow.
They use a bow, and they're all about
Sometimes.
nature. So we've got Legolas versus, I don't even know what the main Na'vi character
Oh, man.
is.
I gotta
So
Find that.
yeah, I'm just saying a Na'vi.
A Na'vi.
So it's interesting how none of us had the Avatar on our 2000s list.
I didn't see it
That
until
is
after
true.
the 2010.
Was it after 2010?
No, it was out. I think.
Yeah, I think it came out in 2008.
Yeah, but I didn't see it for years until
Yeah,
later.
It was all right. I mean, everybody
It was huge when it came out.
loves the Avatar movies, and I think they're not terrible, but I don't think they're the greatest movie. I still haven't even seen the second one all the way through yet. So there's that. And we even bought tickets for the dojo for people to go see it, and I wasn't able to go. So I guess it's not too bad of a deal.
Isn't the metal that they're trying to get unobtainium or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something along the lines.
Yep. Yeah. There's a reason why it's called unobtainium. Dumbass. But all right. Okay. So we've got 3 rounds. We've got one in Middle Earth. Then we'll have one on Pandora. and then one where they're in a cage with no weapons. So we've got round one. We've got in Middle Earth, Legolas versus the Na'vi or a Na'vi in Middle Earth, and we'll even say the Woodland Realm with
the trees.
With the trees, we'll have it because that's where Legolas is from. And
No way.
yeah,
Okay.
crazy enough.
Okay.
So, but who do you got in round one, Kyle? Who do you think's going to take it?
I'm going to go in Middle Earth, Legolas.
Yeah, Legolas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
Well, he did slay an elephant, but that only counted as one. So I'm going
That
to give
only
it to
count as one.
Legolas as well.
Yeah, I like Legolas in this as well. I think the Na'vi are
They're very connected to their world.
They're very connected to their world, and I think they would be semi-connected to the nature that's in the Woodland Realm. But the fact that they're blue makes them easier to see. So I think Legolas would not have a problem just launching an arrow from like a half a mile away and
And the
fight over.
Na'vi are more like, they don't really have like magic and stuff like that.
No, the elves do.
The elves do.
Yeah.
So if you're in Middle Earth, you've got the Middle Earth magic and the
Yep.
special weapons
Yep.
and things like that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Legolas.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
especially when you phrase it in that context. Yeah, the Legolas is definitely taking out whatever Na'vi is put in front of him. So, as you can tell, I'm not a huge Avatar fan. It's again not bad, but not one of my favorites. But we've got round two on the planet of Pandora, and we're just assuming Legolas can breathe without some sort of breathing.
He's got magic.
Well, does
He
it?
can breathe with magic, I guess.
Is it still magic on Pandora? I don't know. That's the thing. Maybe someone online can tell us if
Yeah, I think we need to take the air out of the
so
the equation.
There's
Yeah,
no
come on.
there's
We're
they have
thinking
zero
about this too much.
atmosphere. Okay, so now we've got the two of them on Pandora. Who you got?
I've got the Na'vi.
The Na'vi?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I as well have the Na'vi. I mean, if not for one of the like birds or weird creatures, I think the Na'vi will take the elf out.
I think when you say that they have their special braid,
Yeah, they
Birds.
can connect to things.
yeah, I think that gives them the extreme upper advantage. So, yeah, I definitely got the Na'vi in round two for sure. But now we've got round three. They have no weapons, no magic, just hand-to-hand combat. This is where it gets interesting because, like,
Is
I
it going to
wanna-
be interesting?
I want to say Legolas. I do, but the Na'vi are so big that I could see the Na'vi winning as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Na'vi as well, because just the size difference. If it's fisticuffs,
Yeah.
I don't think Legolas knows how to throw a punch. I think he only used weapons. And the Na'vi, they're primal hunters, right? So they
do know how to
they
use their
roll and
hands.
tumble, and they're
Yeah.
kids. They roughhouse.
Yeah.
So they, that's kind of in their nature.
That's true. You never really see.
Elves are too haughty to
Yeah.
well,
use
and
their fists.
I mean, Legolas is going to be in his castle, and the Na'vi are basically fighting for their lives.
That's right. That's right.
Every single day.
This is the whole Lord of the Rings series for Legolas was just like, I just want to do something. I'm bored.
Yeah. It's a lot of walking. Hey, let's walk over here. Oh no, they took something. Let's walk over there. I'm making fun of it, but I like
You're
the
supposed to
movies.
make fun of it.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Clerks 2?
No.
Where there's this scene where they get into a huge debate about the original trilogy, the Star Wars trilogy versus the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And they're like, there's only one return, and it's of the Jedi, not of the King. And he goes, here, let me reenact the movies for you. And he's like, movie 1. And he just walks a straight line. He goes, all right, that was it. And then he turns around. He's like, movie 2. He walks halfway through and he's like, and then sidesteps and keeps walking. And he's like, movie 3. And he walks, takes a ring off his finger and throws it. They're like, those are the movies.
So messed up.
Kind of a insight into the developer world. Like, there's a lot of nerds,
Uh-huh.
and you will find like Middle Earth references
Oh,
in
everywhere.
like programs that are, we get to look at the code and all
Yeah.
that stuff. We'll find Lord of the Rings references. We'll find Star Wars references.
The one
we'll
code to
find-
rule them all.
Yes.
Yeah. But I agree. I've got the Na'vi in a hand-to-hand fight too. I
Mhm.
just don't think the elves train that, I guess, dirty combat, so to speak, because hand-to-hand combat's not pretty.
Right.
Mhm.
So, and everything it seems like the elf race does is very
Yeah,
smooth
I
and
think
sophisticated.
I think more of like in a forest stealth
Yeah.
for like an elf.
They're not going to try to go hand-to-hand with somebody.
Yeah, they're gonna try and lure them in,
Yep.
or get them to where the elf has the advantage,
Yep.
rather than go out.
Yeah. The only punch you see Legolas throws where he stabs orcs with his
That wasn't a
arrow,
punch. That was a stab.
but it was a punching motion. So,
Is a punch just a stabbing motion without a knife?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I mean, they do have punch daggers.
That's true.
So, not elves, but we as humans have
the
punch
humans
daggers.
invented that.
So, but yeah, I've got the Na'vi winning. So it seems like we all got it winning 2-1.
That's right.
Very interesting. I seriously thought it was going to be Legolas, but after talking, I was like, dude, there's no way. But
yeah, I think even if they were the same size, I
Mhm.
would still pick the Na'vi, because hand to hand, they're out there living in the
Yeah.
wild,
very much so.
fighting for their lives
Very
every
much
single
so.
day.
But all right, let us know who you guys think would win, the Na'vi or Legolas. But moving on to our joke of the week. All right, this week's joke, ironically enough, kind of deals with Lord of the Rings lore.
What?
Yes, it says, did you know that in the movie The Black Panther, Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman play two of the main characters? Would you consider them the Tolkien white guys? Yeah, there you go. That was a good one.
That's funny. I've got a joke or
All
a
right.
question.
Okay.
Have you ever tried blindfolded archery?
I have not.
You've not? Then you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, you don't even know what you're missing. Yes, that was a good one. All right, let us know. Someone needs to tell us a joke online. So far, Master Lessons has only referred to jokes we've told, so waiting for him to tell us a joke. But let's move on to our shout outs. All right. This week we're going to shout out you, Kyle, for coming on the show. I appreciate you taking the time to give us a lot of honestly valuable information, especially when it deals with online stuff. A lot of things that people have probably known but never really took that serious. I know me specifically, but hopefully it kind of opens up their eyes to kind of the vulnerabilities that they're facing when it deals with online stuff and how to protect themselves and all that stuff. So we appreciate you coming on the show. Also want to shout out the people that tested on
yeah.
Saturday. So by the airing of this, we should have some new belts here pretty soon.
Wow.
So good job, people testing.
job.
Hopefully we don't have too many criers. So I honestly expect at least one. So yeah, but we'll see.
Wait, is this the advanced test?
Yeah. Advanced / black belt test
This Saturday.
next Saturday. Oh wait, no, sorry. They are not testing yet. I'm giving them future reference. So
Future testers.
future testers. Shout out to the
Shout out
future
to you.
testers. Yes, it'll be in a week from tomorrow. So shout out to the families of anybody that's lost anybody in a conflict or a war zone, with Memorial Day being yesterday. It definitely gives us time to reflect and really pay homage to the people that passed, so we can have this platform to talk about stuff freely, kind of like what we talked about earlier. Everybody has the right to be able to
We
express
have the freedoms.
to express whatever they want. So I really can't say it enough to the people that have paid that ultimate sacrifice for us. So shout out to those families and all that. Kyle, anybody you want to shout out?
Just to my new but old TRUMOTION family.
That's
you know.
right.
It's just been really good to come out to the dojo
Yes.
and feel the connection with Liam, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just everybody has been great, and very patient as I try to.
As you work through a new set of skills.
Yes.
Now you
Got a
can be like
particular
a
set of
set of
skills.
particular set of skills.
Yes.
Yes. No, we love having you back in the
That's
dojo. Like we were talking earlier, you definitely bring a different energy and a good energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. It's a way of connecting with something that we all love to share with Liam.
Mm-hmm.
And Liam clearly loved to share with us. And it's helping kind of fill that void that we've been lacking for the last like 6 months. And I really appreciate you taking that leap of faith to do it, because everybody can sympathize with it, but nobody understands
Mm-hmm.
what it is that you're going through, or the struggles that it's been to just continue on with everyday life. And
Yeah. Well, and I was talking with you the other
Yeah.
day, and I said that, you know, I can go into kind of this self-destruct mode and
Yeah.
and get into drugs or alcohol
Yep.
or
Yep.
different things and just kind of wallow in my sorrow,
Mm-hmm.
look to food, that kind of stuff. And a year is going to pass, or I can look at, you know, ways to connect with Liam
Mhm.
and ways to bring myself closer to him and help improve myself as a way to get closer to him.
Yeah.
And a year is going to pass.
Yeah.
And it's really how I choose to use my time,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole healing process. And that's when, you know, you say I took that leap of faith. I would say that you kind of tossed me off the cliff.
Yep.
It's kind of like the old
Sink or
John
swim.
Wayne,
Yeah.
John Wayne movie where the
Throws them in
kid's
the
like,
water.
you don't know how to swim.
There you go.
There you go. But you know, it was time.
I gave you a slight kick,
yes.
like from the movie 300.
Hmm.
You know,
not quite that extreme. You
Yeah.
you gave me my gi and said it's time to start, and I said yes,
Yep.
it is.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
it was something that I had thought about, but a lot of times with this whole process, it's a lot harder thinking about doing something than it is actually getting out and doing
Yeah.
it. Like once we get out and we do it, there is a healing element to that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thought of actually doing something like that can weigh on you. But
Yeah.
so I've gotten to where I just decide to push my way through things.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, set up boundaries to where if I'm not ready for it, I just say,
Yeah, you're not ready
I'm
for
not
it.
ready for it.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I tell everybody, especially adults, when they get started, the
Mhm.
hardest thing about training in martial arts is just walking in the front door.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody always thinks it's the actual classes and tests and all that stuff that's the hardest part. Not really. I mean, are they difficult? Yes, but truly the hardest part about
Mhm.
training is just getting started. That really is, like the ability to walk through the door and be like, all right, let's do this.
Showing up is half the battle.
Exactly. So yeah, it's amazing how a lot of us don't like to take accountability for our feelings and our actions.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, time's going to pass regardless,
Yeah.
but I have the ability to choose to do what I need to do with that time.
Mm-hmm.
So you could either be, like you said, wallowing in your self-pity and
just
destructive habits.
Self-destructive. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you could be like, okay, I'm going to be proactive in my healing, and I'm going to heal on my terms, not let these things dictate my terms.
Well, and I will tell you what, like when you're down, oh gosh, a workout
Yeah.
or a walk in the sun, walk the dog, like just get up and move. Movement is medicine.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
and we've kind of forgotten that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still going to feel bad. You're still going to feel that sorrow, but you might as well be doing something.
But you'll feel less bad while you're
Yes,
doing it.
Exactly. Oh, and even after, like
Mhm.
the days that I get up and work out, the day just feels
A little bit
a
better.
little bit better.
Yeah.
And I feel, like coming out here, I just feel that much more connected to Liam.
Yeah. Exactly. So we appreciate you taking the time, showing us a little bit about what true healing looks like, because like I said, most of us will never understand, and hopefully never have to understand that.
Yes.
So we appreciate you kind of showing us that path.
Well,
And that's an invaluable thing, and we're going to do our best to fill that void, that giant void that was left from us, and hopefully we can do that for you. And I know that you're already doing that for us. So we really appreciate you and Inez, and your continuation to still be with us here at the dojo. So
yeah. Well, the feeling is very much mutual, and
yeah.
we love this place, and it is a sanctuary for us.
And that just kind of brings us into the final thoughts, where it's like, don't ever take an opportunity not to tell somebody how you really feel about them, how you care about them, how much they mean to you, because it could go away in an instant. So make an impact in a positive way in somebody's life. Get out and move. Like Kyle was saying, movement is medicine.
Yes.
The best way to start feeling better is to start moving.
Yes.
So, but thank you for spending the time with us, you guys. We appreciate you. Second live video, not necessarily live, second video.
Second video that they're seeing.
Yeah, we're not quite to the live stage yet. So, but thank you for spending the time with us today, you guys.
Sure.
We really appreciate it. Kyle, thank you for coming on in.
It's been a pleasure.
And make sure you kick it with us next time, you guys. Have a good week, everybody.
Kick it with us next week.
See you
Bye,
later.
everyone.